Hello, for today's review I've got yet another true wireless model made by KZ, and now it's KZ-Z1. They just recently released KZ-S2, and to be honest I don't know what sense it makes from the marketing perspective, releasing few really similar models in the short period of time. Of course, in terms of internals, there is a noticeable difference. S2 uses some 7mm driver, and Z1 uses more advanced 10mm dynamic driver with some advanced technologies, double-sided magnet, spatial acoustic cavity, so KZ found some unusual driver or receiver and decided to put it to the true wireless in-ear monitors. Price of KZ-Z1 is $34, at least it's the price at Linsol Audio where I get them, and it's pretty close to a KZ-S2 if I remember right, just a bit more. In terms of specifications, they offer about 2 or maybe a bit more, up to 2.5 hours of work, maybe a bit less, so it really depends on the volume. Actually they have really high upper volume limit, so you can definitely destroy your hearing completely with them. So work time really depends on the volume, so from I don't know, 2.5 hours up to 1.5 hours, and at average about 2 hours, so slightly below other in-ear monitors, noticeably below 5 hours that some other models offers, but anyway, for daily commute probably it's enough. And it supports SBC and AAC codecs, still no aptX. I suspect that here used same Realtek chip that was used in S2, so in terms of electronics I think they are the same, but also it's just my assumption. I'm not 100% sure here because I didn't disassemble them or peek inside, but let's probably have a closer look. So KZ improved box, and I'm really glad to see that because their previous boxes were dull. Now we've got a nice textured box with embossed company's logo. Looks attractive, and on the side there are some technical specifications. So 5.0 Bluetooth, up to 20 meters, well maybe not 20 but up to 10 meters when there is not much electromagnetic interference outside you. And as you can see, up to 10 charges additionally in case, so in this aspect they are good. And in terms of color I've got green. I'm sure that probably everyone will get the green one. Also there is a black version, but green of course looks more attractive. So set of warranty cards, manuals in different languages. Here is the case with the earphones themselves. Oops, I did it again. And as usual, it's hard to get this box out without completely destroying it. So here it is. Anyway, I need to show it to you. Everyone likes unboxing. Of course, I'm kidding, no one likes them, but if you don't need the information, you can easily skip it. I usually put timestamps into the description. So, micro USB cable for charging, still no USB-C here. I don't know why, but probably KZ got a big stock of micro USB connectors. And 2 set of tips, similar in shape, single flange silicone tips, 2 pairs of 2 sizes. So let me show one to you. Here they are. The main difference is that one set is softer, and for different ears they offer a bit different wearing experience. So I think it would be much better if they just use some regular silicone tips, but no one listened to my advices. So here is the case. Actually, case looks attractive and I like it a bit more than S2 and S1 series. Nice green color, not sure if camera will show it correctly, but it's like emerald green. So at least on my smartphone screen it looks a bit darker than in real life. We'll see how it will came up during the final cut. And inside of the case everything is pretty traditional, so it closes with magnet. Here is charging port, it's on the side this time. What is the logic? I don't know. You just take them out, they boot up, there is a voice prompt here. They're telling you in nice English with slight accent that they are turned on, connected, pairing, and so on. So they are almost similar with S1 and S2, but done in a bit more ergonomic way. You see that shape here just fitting better into your ears and providing a more secure fit. It's probably a plus for the daily commute or for some active usage like for the sport, but I'm not sure about waterproof rate here. Probably they are not sweat proof because there is a microphone hole and there is a venting hole, so they don't look like sweat proof, but who knows. But probably I won't use them for some active usage. As usual, there is a LED indicator and this sensor panel works for controls, and unfortunately, as in the previous version, they can't change the volume from earpieces themselves, so you need to take the player or smartphone out to adjust the volume. So double taps are for tracks changing, single tap play pause, so just regular stuff here. And triple tap, as you can see, they're connected to my player and start some playback. So triple tap activates the high performance mode that reduces the latency, and latency in this mode is almost zero. So if you need it for gaming or for some movies, you can activate it, but it will drain battery faster. But anyway, let's go back to the wearing comfort. There is a nice extended metal spout, improving the isolation, so that it's a bit above average. There is a lip for holding the tip, there is a protective grill. I hope that in future KZ will use this shape and design for their other, for classical wired in-ear monitors. In general, build quality is pretty nice. Shells are not 100% seamless, you can see the joints here and here, but anyway, they are built nicely, looks pretty attractive and have a nice color, unusual. What else I can say about them? I already told about the range. There is a slight background noise present as in almost every inexpensive in-ear monitors, and they can have some hiccups when you enter some area with a lot of Wi-Fi networks and interference, but in general connection quality is pretty okay. And that's pretty much it about them. So as you can see, built nicely. There are a few issues that could be solved, but it's typical for KZ. They are moving towards the perfection, but stopping one step before reaching it. And a sound test. Here how they sound in the quiet environment. I'm recording this video using this earpiece's built-in microphone. I won't apply any gain correction or equalizer, so just to give you an idea how does this sound. And actually I thought that I need to do some test in noisy environment, so here is some ambient sound noise. So probably it can be some kind of simulation of sound in the noisy environment. I tried to adjust the volume level, but not sure is it a perfect test, but anyway. And of course about the sound, as a transport I will use my M11 Pro, it doesn't support AAC, but for AAC tests I used iPhone that currently works as a video camera, but I use this player now just to show some example tracks to you, so it doesn't matter what will be the transport in this review. And in terms of sound, you know, it's maybe not huge, but and maybe not even big, but noticeable improvement actually over S2, and so that almost kills S2 model, but maybe not completely, but anyway, like, you know, everyone who prefer S2 probably will prefer Z1 more, because it does almost the same, just a bit better. So it's V-shaped in terms of signature, and it offers accented low frequencies and accented treble. Actually, the treble probably is the only reason to prefer S2, as it's a bit more polite on treble. This one is a bit more treble forward. So it's more classical V-shaped signature with, but this 10mm driver is fast and it has a bit better resolution. Of course, it's also limited by the lossy codec, so don't expect like some stellar resolution, don't expect the performance of the wired model, but for true wireless and relatively inexpensive in-ear monitors, it's a pretty good deal, especially if you like fun sound. So, bass accented, pretty noticeably accented. Maybe it's not the biggest accent I've heard, but it's a bit above average accent. So big bass with good depth. Of course, depth is also not perfect because it's limited by the lossy wireless codec, but still depth is present and it has a good weight, good rumble, good amount of pump, of impact. It's suiting a bit better for the electronic music, for synthesized low frequencies, but thanks to the normal resolution, with acoustic instruments they sounding also more or less natural. Maybe a bit less than more, but still at no acceptable level. They exaggerate the size of acoustic instruments a little bit, but it's typical for the in-ear monitors with accented low frequencies. And as an example, today I've got Yello Planet Dada. It's good electronic music, time-proven classics with lot of bass, and of course this in-ear monitor sounding delightful with such tracks. Something more realistic like Music Anuda also sounding pretty enjoyable, but a bit moving the acoustic bass forward comparing with traditional mix. And what is important, you'll need to find the proper tips to get better and deeper fit, and better seal and deeper fit, because as usual I try to use the biggest tips because in most cases they fit best of all, but not in this case. This time, because of this extended spouts, medium-sized tips worked better. So I'm telling this because I encourage you to try different options, even including those that usually won't fit you well. What else? So mids, bass transitions to the mids pretty nicely, and actually bass almost not bleeding onto the mids, but of course it's accented, so in bass heavy tracks it's a bit shadowing mids. It's unavoidable, not because bass here is poorly controlled, it's okay in this aspect, just because it's a lot of low frequencies and it grabs your attention. Mids are actually resolving, but because of the accented bass and treble, they sounding a bit moved to the second stage, but it's everyone knows what V-shaped signature means. Still, resolution is normal, not of course as detailed as balanced armatures and not as detailed as wired in-ear monitors, but normal resolution, not too nitpicking, but a bit better quality of records is will be a plus. And actually with this true wireless in-ear monitors, actually even there is a sense in trying different masters. They show the difference, not in 100% of cases, but often they do. In terms of stage, they are about average, more or less, maybe a bit less, but pretty close to the average with normal layering and good instrument separation. And as an example, another time-proven classics, it's Shocking Blue, Demon Lover, signature vocal, unusual tuning. You know, Shocking Blue is a band that had or have, I'm not sure about the status, so they had their own sound, they had their own style and approach, and these in-ear monitors fitting pretty well to such music because they have normal resolution on the mids, representing all the nuances of the vocal, and it's important for such music. And treble is accented. As usual, extension is about average. It's typical for the true wireless models. I'm telling it all the time, but probably not everyone is following all my reviews, so I have to repeat it in every review. So treble extension is about average because wireless codecs cut the treble extension. They are a bit forward, and it gives you a bit of accented airiness, a bit of accented crispness. But if you're sensitive to treble, probably you need to listen them before buying. They are not the sharpest in ear monitors, but treble accent is still noticeable. Resolution is normal. Attacks and decays, of course, are a bit slower, so it's just a normal dynamic driver treble. It's okay for presenting the main tone, but don't expect some rich layering, overtone saturation, or something like that. And as an example, I got Sting, Fragile, and Sting is always a good example of treble because his tracks have decent percussion and a lot of different instruments like violins and so on and so forth, so a lot of instruments that goes high to the treble domain. Of course, here you will notice the simplification of this treble, but still the track sounding enjoyable, and you won't have that sense of muffled or totally silenced treble. So to summarize the sound part once again, V-shaped signature with more or less normal resolution, of course for true wireless models, and with accented bass and treble. Speaking about the comparisons, just few other models, of course I can't recall them all, but anyway, here is S1, you can see this case, actually time for some cases comparison. And you can see that shape is simpler and shell is also simpler. So with this in-ear monitors I got a bit more secure fit. So these ones are hybrid, so they are a bit more focused on the micro detalization, a bit more detailed on mids and treble, but a bit more lightweight and a bit less accented on the bass. It's just another tuning option, also V-shaped, but V-shapedness is a bit less here. Actually they all are V-shaped. And recently released S2, you can see another version of case, another version of shell, also a bit different, so you can see there is slight difference, not huge, but also noticeable. And once again, this gives me a bit better fit. And in terms of sound, these are a bit more polite on treble, a bit less resolving on the whole sonic spectrum, and also with a bit bigger and slower bass. But anyway, the choice between these three models are pretty tough, so probably I'd prefer S1 for music that requires a bit more resolution, or Z1 for cases when you need like fun and enjoying and engaging sound. There are other true wireless models like TRN, for example, but TRN is a bit more focused on the treble, they are sharper on the treble, they use balanced armatures with more accented on the treble. And of course higher priced models like I don't know, Jade Audio, for example, and other models in that price range usually performing a bit better. There is no big difference, in this segment, like, like $30 up to $50 different isn't big. Main changes starting happening in the area from $80 and up to $150. It's the place where located or where lives true wireless models that can be called more or less audiophiliac. But KZZ1 is pretty decent solution with good price to quality ratio. Of course, there are a few drawbacks. For someone they could be critical, for others they don't. So it's I've tried to highlight not only pluses but also negative sides. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.